Hello again. I doubt that many viewers will be shocked or disagree with me when I observe that there is often a marked disconnect between what politicians say is happening and what is really happening. Our Prime Minister is, of course, no exception to this general rule. As I'm sure most viewers know, Rishi Sunak has assured us that the number of refugees arriving on boats crossing the English Channel is now going down because of his legislation on deporting them to Rwanda. In fact, of course, more people than ever are crossing the Channel to take advantage of our hospitality. On Wednesday, no fewer than 711 illegal immigrants were collected in international waters and brought to this country by lifeboats and vessels of the Border Force. The previous day, 268 arrived, making a total of almost 1,000 in just 48 hours. Just to remind ourselves, that means hundreds fewer flats and houses to rent for people already living in this country, and another 1,000 people who will need to be registered with GPs and NHS dentists. The number of people who have arrived so far in the last 4 months is up on last year and has now reached record figures. The number of people coming here is increasing, and there is not the least sign that they are bothered about the idea of being sent to Rwanda. I don't blame them really, because the chances of anybody actually being flown there are almost non-existent. And remember too that part of the deal is that if we send refugees there, we shall in return take refugees from the Congo and bring them to live in this country. Part of the problem is, of course, that those who claim asylum in Britain are free to wander around wherever they please. The Home Office gives them plenty of warning if their application is going to be turned down, and so they have time to vanish without leaving a forwarding address. There is no incentive whatsoever for those people to stop coming to this country or to leave when they are told to do so. The situation is very stark. If we carry on in this way, then thousands and thousands of illegal immigrants will continue to come here, and instead of just 700 in a day, we shall soon have 1,000 in a day, or perhaps 2,000. There can be no doubt whatsoever about that. If we really intend to deal with the problem and prevent failed asylum seekers from disappearing, then the only way of doing so would be to keep them all under lock and key until a decision has been reached about whether or not to grant them asylum. Only then would they be released and allowed to roam free. I am not advocating this course of action, which would entail setting up concentration camps or internment camps, call them what you will. What I am saying is that this is the only way of reducing the number of illegal immigrants entering the country. If the people living rough on the shores of France knew that they would upon arrival here be sent at once to a prison camp, then that would deter them from making the journey, since decisions about asylum often take years to decide, and they would know that they would be locked up in a prison camp for a few years. As I say, I am not saying that we should do this. I am saying that we have a simple choice now between seeing thousands of illegal immigrants landing here each day and setting up camps surrounded with barbed wire and keeping all asylum seekers in them. One or the other, but not both. Since I do not believe that any British government will ever have the appetite for such a course of action, least of all a Labour government, then it seems to me a racing certainty that we shall this year be overrun with ever-increasing numbers of illegal immigrants from Africa and Asia, and that by the end of the year there will be a hideous crisis when it comes to rented property in Britain. I see no possible way out of that situation. In the description to this video, I give a link to the official government figures on the Ministry of Defence website for illegal immigrants that have entered the country.